Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back. In this video, we're looking at the PGA event for this week. It's the Pebble Beach Pro-Am, starting Thursday, 5 a.m. on Draftkings on the East Coast. So let's get started. I will go ahead and kind of touch on the four golfers that I like to have in my lineup, kind of go through past history at this course, and then just kind of touch on some golfers that I like and just kind of looking at some approaches for this week. So let's get into it. As always, appreciate you guys the like button, subscribe if you have not already. If you want to check out the website, Twitter, or Prize Picks info, you can check the description. And let's get started. I won't waste any more time. So looking back at last year, it is kind of typically it's a weak field here. We're first looking at the field. Pretty weak field with Dustin Johnson withdrawing as well as Kuchar. So if Cantlay sticks out above the rest, Cantlay, Berger, Zalatoris, not a ton of top end names here. Spieth was great last week, but probably want to see him do it for a few weeks before we proclaim him to be back. Be like Streelman, Davis, have some decent golfers, but it's a pretty weak field compared to where we have the past few weeks. So I feel a bit better about going with some cheap options, just because I feel like you're gonna see a lot of these guys in the 6K and 7K range make the cut and compete. Just looking back at the history here, it's a course where last year Nick Taylor won, Streelman finished second, Phil Mickelson has done very well here, finished third, Jason Day, who also has done great at Pebble Beach, finished fourth. Then you see Spieth finish in the top 10, top 15 for Max Homa. You saw JB Holmes, previous past winner, finished 14th. He's super cheap on DraftKings, so it is kind of a course where you do see a lot of guys that you would expect to be in the low $6,000 range, like Blair, Kitayama, Piercy. They can do well at this course. 2019, he saw another top 10, top 15 from Homa, finishing 10th. Streelman, another great performance. He's really done well at this course the past 5 years, finishing the top 25, I believe, in each time. Finished 7th 2 years ago. Another top 5 for Jason Day, Siwoo Kim, Casey, Phil Mickelson won in 2019. And then back on 2020, Ted Potter Jr. finished. Phil Mickelson, seeing his name be in the top 5 each of the past 3 years. Finished second. Reeve, Jason Day, another top 5 for him. So Streelman, once again, Streelman's name is pretty familiar. Brian Day, we've seen him finish 8th in 2018. Believe he did well. 2019, he finished 7th. So he's a guy that we can definitely consider. And then Spieth, top 25 for him, finishing 20th. So it is a course where we can expect to kind of find guys that, you're not going to just automatically assume one of the top guys will win. It's a pretty weak field. And we've seen in the past, we've seen a lot of guys that we would expect to be cheap on DraftKings and Fanduel do very well. It's a course where you do have, I think, 4 par 5s. And the par 5s are pretty manageable to get eagles on. A 530-yarder. This was round 4, 575. You're not seeing massive 600-plus yard par 5s here. In the first round, we saw 520. We saw a 570, 500, and a 599. Played 2 different courses here, so hopefully, well, we're not going to get shot tracking data on both courses, but hopefully, it's a course that you do see some par 5s, you do see a lot of birdies can be made, and usually sub 19 under one. Back in 2019, it was 17 under, or 2019 it was 19 under as well, and then 2018 it was 17 under. So definitely a course where you will expect some birdies to be made. At the top here, I find it difficult not to jam in Patrick Cantlay, given how pretty weak the field is. Cantlay has just been a machine recently in the events that he has played. He hasn't played a ton since the New Year, only his 3rd event, but did finish top 15 in the other 2, finished 2nd at the American Express. Won at the Zozo back in October, and since then he's been just kind of cruising into top 20 finishes. Think he looks like a great option. I mean, he's the odds-on favorite to win this event, so hopefully he doesn't disappoint this week. I like Berger a lot more than Casey just because Casey is putting, it gets super frustrating. So Berger is my second guy that I'll consider above 10,000. Then I like Spieth at 97. I like Spieth, Day, then Zalatoris. Siwoo is decent as well. but I kind of like the guys that are cheap here in the 9K range with Davis, Burns, and Streelman. Cam Davis, another guy I'll go ahead and just plug in just because he's a guy that I've been playing quite a bit and has not been disappointing. He's a guy that can absolutely bomb it on par fives. He can hit like 350 off the tees, and his putting is up and down, but he's a guy that can get you some eagles just because his par five scoring is great, which will help you on the Draftkings scoring. And he's a guy that I do expect to compete on the weekend given this weak field, so he's the second guy that I will go ahead and plug in. And then you have Phil Mickelson, also done really great at this course. 86 is definitely kind of a tough price tag for me to kind of go to him. I'll probably go with Streelman as my third guy. I like Homa a bit. Don't think I'll really have Norlander. I like the guys that are a bit more expensive. Tringale is also somewhat expensive, so if I am paying the 8K range for anybody, it will be for Max Homa, Streelman, and then I'll probably go cheap for like a Brian Harmon or a James Hahn. Hahn has been doing his thing recently. Only at $8,000 in a pretty still weak field. He's a guy that, if he does make the cut, can definitely flash a top 10. So consider him. He definitely had a shot to win last week and then kind of blew up on the back nine on the fourth round. But Streelman, he's just been so good at this course. He's a guy that is pretty do like to focus on courses that he has done well, like certain courses that are not going to require guys to just bomb it. He can do great. He's been really great at this course, and I think 89. Given that there's not a ton of options here, and given that he's pretty decent, hasn't had a top 10 in a while, but do expect him to make the cut. Do expect him to compete for top 20, top 30. So definitely going to go ahead and try to get to at least 3 guys above 8,000, and then for value plays here in the $7,000 range, it's Chris Kirk, who looks good just because he's cheap. He has been playing great golf recently, so hopefully he can kind of carry that into this one. Missed a cut last week, but top 20 at the American Express, second at the Sony, made cut. So he's been pretty consistent for only 7,900. Other guys that look great are like Pat Kazire, who's also been playing great golf, 7,600 for him. Feel like he can make the cut here and probably continue to play well. Do think Varner hopefully can build off of last week. He has done decent at this course, and it's kind of a course that you'd expect him to have success at. A guy that is definitely up and down, but when he does make the cut, he's not just a guy that's going to finish in like 50th or 60th place. Typically, when he makes the cut, he's going to compete for like a top 20, which he has done 3 out of the 4 times but he's made the last cuts. 77, he's a guy that I'm looking at. Last year's winner, Nick Taylor, 7,600. Canadian. He's not been great, but he's not been terrible as well recently. If you want to go off of last year, then you can definitely take a shot with Taylor. I like Varner a little bit more. I like Kazire. And then below around 7,500, I like Doug Gim. Reevy's been good at this course, but I'd probably go to Gim just because he's a bit more consistent. And then you have Jim Furyk. Old guy Jim Furyk, 7,400. Normally don't play him, but he's cheap enough in a not that strong of a field. And then we have Adam Long, another guy that you can consider who's cheap. And when you're going cheap here, you normally want to get guys that can make cuts, or you just have a good feeling about them. Like Long has flashed a bit of a ceiling recently, third at the Mayakoba. But he's also a guy that normally when he makes cuts, like he can compete for top 10s, but sometimes he'll just kind of finish 66, 74, 69. Like finishing at those spots is basically the same as not even making the cut. And then we have in the below low 7K range, you have Nate Lashley, Austin Cook, who was disappointing last week, but definitely a guy that can make the cut and kind of be like a safe play in this type of field. 7,000, he's going to be somewhat interesting. And in the 6K range, you have a few guys that I'm liking. It starts with Andrew Landry at $6,900, just because I think he can have success at this course, just given that, it's not going to require guys to bomb it. He's looking at previous winners like Taylor, kind of fits his similar game, and think, he's kind of due for somewhat of a good performance here. So I like him a bit. McCarthy's kind of fallen off recently, 6,900. Good price tag on him, but want to see if he can kind of get it together. And then, yeah, Will Gordon, who was like leading the way, and then he kind of blew up. Uh, I think that was 2 tournaments ago. The Farmers still finished, in the top 45, but definitely could have been a lot better if he didn't crush himself in rounds 3 and 4. And now we have like not a ton of guys. You have Holmes, who's done well here, but 6,600 for a guy that's not been only has like 5 events. He's not been playing a ton. Brian Gay is definitely a guy you can consider. He's done well at this course. I mean, look at that hair. Uh, he's probably not a guy I'll go to, but if you want to look at course history, he's a guy that you'll consider. And then I think it's a bit risky of a play here, but I do have a decent feeling about Michael Gligic this week. I think he's due to make a cut, and he's a guy that I haven't played a lot recently, and that's for a good reason, as he's been really bad. 5 straight missed cuts, but then he took a week off. So I think taking a week off after missing 3 straight cuts where he played, 3 straight weeks of golf, probably did him some favors. He's in an interview said he's not worried about how bad he's played recently and that things will turn around. So going off of his words, like he's the guy that back in October people were playing him just because he was doing great, top 40, top 30, top 15 at the Shriners, Bermuda, and Sanderson Farms. And he's a guy that can get you some upside because he can make some eagles. He's a good putter, just depending on the type of tournament and depending on how he's playing. He's a guy that at $6,200, given how weak the field is, looking at previous leaderboards and seeing names that you normally don't expect at the top, like 20, like Clark, Hadley, Higgs, Blair. Back in last year, 2019, you had like Glover, Piercy, Furyk finished top 15. So looking at the type of guys that have success here, I think Gligic, it's definitely a spot that if he is going to turn his season around, and he definitely needs to do better because he wants to keep his spot on the PGA Tour. I think he's going to want to play well, and I think he's going to make the cut. And if he does, then we've seen him flash some sort of ceiling. So definitely we'll go with one of the cheap $6,000 range guys just because I want to get up to a few guys that are expensive in the 9K range, and then I want to pay up for Cantlay. So pretty much it for the DraftKings side. Go ahead and touch on Fanduel. All right, on Fanduel here, at the top, it's no surprise you have Cantlay at 11.9, then it's followed by Daniel Berger. So pretty closely priced with 5 guys above 11,000. And then you have Day right at 11,000. Stick with Cantlay just because I think he is the most talented out of the group. And then Berger is also easier to get to on FanDuel just because you have some more cheap plays and a bit easier to a bit more roster flexibility. So I'll probably pay up for 2 guys above 11,000. I think Cantlay and Berger really, at least 2 guys. I think Cantlay and Berger really fit what I want to do. And then I will still go with Cam Davis just because I love how he plays and I love the game and the upside that he brings, especially with just how good he is at bombing the ball. So Cam Davis, 10.6, he also fits what I want. And then I'll probably consider Gligic again. He's min price $7,000. Same reason. If he does great on DraftKings at 6,200, I think I want to have him on FanDuel at 7,000 being the min priced. Still leaves you with 9,500 left, so you can still go with another guy in the 7K range. On FanDuel, this like 8K range is filled with guys that normally would be in the 7K range. Like you have Brendan Grace. Putnam was decent last week, but he's not the most consistent. Stallings, Joel Damon, you never know what you're getting out of him. Like Kaufman, Furyk. I don't feel great. Like if I was paying mid 8K for like Kramer Hickok or Tom Ho, might as well just go down to the 7K range. Get some more cheap plays like a Shank, a Gay, who's 76, a Gligic. So FanDuel, that 8K range is not a range that I think I'll have too much interest in. Yeah, maybe like Stanley is the guy that I think looks fine, but 88 is definitely expensive when you have like Varner and Kazire, but they're in the 9K range on FanDuel. So FanDuel, I think I'll go a bit more stars and scrubs, but sticking with the stars of Cantlay, Berger, Davis, and then hopefully the scrubbing Michael Gligic can have a great performance. And that's pretty much it for this video. Pebble Beach 2021. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Hopefully you guys have a great week in PGA. Stay tuned for all the basketball videos. For the NASCAR, I'll have a Daytona 500 video out for this weekend. And with that being said, best of luck, and I'll see you all next time.